Good afternoon and thanks for having us in. The South Dakota School Superintendents Association is calling on the State Board of Education Standards to reject the proposed social studies standards. This morning, the association released a statement in opposition to the standards, saying, quote, "Our state motto is under God the people rule. We respectfully request you listen to the people of South Dakota and oppose these standards." The SDSSA says it opposes the standards due to issues with memorization, an overwhelming number of details, and being developmentally inappropriate. The final public hearing on the standards is next week in Pierre. Also new this midday, former legislative candidate Joel Koskan is headed to prison. The former South Dakota legislative candidate was walked out of the courtroom in handcuffs after the judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison on sex charges. According to earlier court documents, the victim in the case was a child. Today's hearing came after a judge rejected a plea agreement in the case. KELOLAND's Bob Mercer was in the courtroom for today's hearing. He's working on a detailed story for you that you'll be able to see on KELOLAND.com. Authorities in Rapid City are searching for an escapee. The DOC says 46-year-old Thomas Rabbit failed to return to the Rapid City Minimum Center following his work release shift on Saturday. Rabbit is a Native American man weighing 220 pounds and standing 6 feet tall. He is serving sentences for a DUI and possession of a controlled substance. If you have any information about his whereabouts, you're encouraged to contact police. Turning to weather, we could see records fall today, maybe tomorrow as well. Isn't that right, Adam?
Yeah, today is the more widespread chance for record high temperatures to fall. Tomorrow, it's a little more localized to the south and east as we do get a bit of a reality check as we head into the second half of this work week. We also are keeping an eye on the fire weather concerns. Yes, it's warm. It's great to get outside, but the air is also very dry. The vegetation is still very dry, and we also have a lot of wind to talk about. So as a result, red flag warnings are in place in pink for a majority of southern and southeastern KELOLAND, including the Sioux Falls area, through late this evening. Please be careful with any outdoor heat sources as you go about your day today. And we'll likely have more of those red flag warnings as we head through Wednesday and to a lesser extent Thursday. We do also have some flood warnings to talk about. No real set expiration time on them. They're all listed as until further notice, just due to all of the runoff that we're seeing. The bulk of these warnings are along the Big Sioux River from areas south of Watertown going into Union County. For Rock County, Minnesota, that's along the Rock River. And there are also flood warnings in place along Mud Creek in Cottington County and Madera Creek in Brookings County, just south of Brookings itself. Both of those also until further notice. So if you are near any of those waterways, please be careful of that, as we are still seeing moderate flooding conditions in place. Case in point, there's the Big Sioux River, certainly living up to the big part in terms of water flow. 77 already at the airport with a south wind at 23 miles per hour. Meanwhile, as we take a look at the Missouri River in Pierre, they have hit 80 in Hughes County, south wind at 15 miles per hour. The temperatures around the region, well, there are chillier pockets, and I do mean pockets. Aberdeen at 41, Bismarck 42, Fargo at 47, but then you have the 70s and 80s popping up more and more. 81 Winter and Valentine's, 71 for Faith, 77 here in Sioux Falls, Yankton, Spencer, and Chamberlain, and Rapid City also getting up to the 80-degree mark. Brookings, meanwhile, at 69 degrees, 67 in Watertown. And yeah, you don't need me to tell you this, just step outside. It's warmer now compared to the same point yesterday, and by a healthy margin in several locations. If you like this and you're in southeastern KELOLAND, you're going to like the short-term forecast. Otherwise, just get ready for a reminder that, yes, it's spring, not summer. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in your 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Adam. The U.S. national emergency to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic has ended. President Joe Biden signed a bipartisan congressional resolution to bring the national emergency to a close after 3 years, weeks before it was set to expire alongside a separate public health emergency. The national emergency allowed the government to take sweeping steps to respond to the virus and support the country's economic, health, and welfare systems. The criminal investigation into the leak of highly classified U.S. security documents is just beginning, but the military and diplomatic fallout of the leak is already felt. Skylar Henry has details from the White House.
Afternoon, everybody.
The White House says it still does not know the full extent of the security breach involving highly classified documents leaked on social media.
Are there more documents out there that have not been released publicly? Is this an ongoing threat?
We don't know. We truly don't.
The documents show key weaknesses in Ukrainian weaponry, air defense, and battalion sizes. And they came out as Ukraine is preparing for a spring counteroffensive.
Because these documents are static, it's going to give an opportunity for Ukraine, the United States, and the NATO allies to be flexible and to respond. I don't think in the long run it's going to change the outcome of any of the operations that are forthcoming.
Congressman Mike Turner, the head of the House Intelligence Committee, says the DOJ will find the culprit.
If it's an American, they're certainly a traitor, and they will be brought to justice, and the Department of Justice is hot on the trail.
In addition to security concerns, there could be a diplomatic fallout as well. Pieced together, these documents give a rare window into U.S. intelligence of both adversaries and allies.
U.S. officials have been in touch with relevant allies and partners over the last couple of days at very high levels, and I'll leave it at that.
Officials say some of the leaked documents have been doctored to make the U.S. and Ukraine look worse, leading some to believe Russia is behind the leak.
It's really a new frontier in many ways. The combination of elements of truth with falsehoods to advance an adversary's agenda. Russia's actually been quite good at this for some time.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has requested a classified briefing for U.S. senators on the leaked documents. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Associated Press reports the documents first appeared on Discord, a social media chat room popular with gamers.